Hello, friends. I've received several messages asking me to speak on the Riley Gaines and sports topic. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of the NCAA and the situation with women's swimming and trans women, but Riley Gaines is a woman who was a championship in women's swimming through college. And she had the unfortunate experience of having to compete against a 6'3" biological man by the name of Lia Thomas, who is now a trans woman. And Lia Thomas, when they were competing in men's swimming, was named Matt, and she was ranking in like 496th place when she was competing with men, and now she's in the first place in women's swimming. So what happened with Riley Gaines, and I feel very strongly and I support Riley Gaines very much in what she's doing. She came to fruition when she actually tied with Lia Thomas in a race with the NCAA, and when it came time to stand on the podium, there was one trophy, and the NCAA told her that she had to let Lia Thomas hold it for a photo op. So you can imagine if you're Riley, you're a little upset, right? Because you did just as well as the biological man, now trans woman swimmer did. And keep in mind that Lia Thomas has not had any surgeries done. None. Zip, zilch. No surgeries done. So Riley had to stand on the side. She has worked her whole life training in women's swimming while she had to watch Lia Thomas, a biological man, sit there and pose with a trophy that she herself had won and earned. So she was a little upset about it. So Riley has made her platform upon saving women's sports for women, for girls, keeping women's spaces for women's spaces, because not only was Riley robbed of her trophy, but Riley also had to share a locker room and a shower with a biological man with all of his parts in the shower, naked, with all of her parts naked in a shower. Since then, Lia Thomas has now admitted that she suffers from autogynephilia, which is when someone has a sexual fetish with dressing up as a woman and actually gets off from dressing up as a female.
It is just so wild that you can turn around and see a 6'4" biological man pull his pants down watching you undress, and no one is willing to stick up for you. Lia Thomas's teammates, actually, when they were concerned about the locker room situation and they sent an email to the Ivy League and the NCAA, their response was, here are some counseling resources you should seek if you feel comfortable seeing male genitalia in your locker room. And then they were referred to the LGBTQ Education Center to educate themselves on the oppression that these athletes are dealing with. But we go back there and the official looks at me and Lia. We're about this far apart, and he says, great job, you guys tied. Lia gets the trophy. And so I look at him and I say, okay, I understand we tied and I understand there's one trophy, but what's your thought process as to why Lia gets the trophy? And he said, well, for photo purposes, Lia has to have the trophy. So you can pose with this one, but you go home empty-handed. Lia takes the trophy.
So Riley has made her platform upon women's rights, saving women's sports for women. And since then, she recently went to speak at San Francisco University in California about her platform. And while she was speaking, well, let me just show you what happened, because she was attacked. She was assaulted, and then she was kidnapped and held for ransom by trans students, basically by a man dressed in a dress, kidnapped her, held her for ransom in a room, wouldn't let her free until the family paid money. But here, I'll let you guys take a look.
Of course, then they went on to say how peaceful they were and how proud they were of these brave people who participated in this. But then at the end, they went on to say how difficult it can be for them and during this time, the protesters and the student body, how hard it can be for me to be on their campus. And then they listed some different resources that they should seek if they're having a really hard time digesting me being on campus, including psychological counseling sources. They gave the Dean of Students office. First of all, nothing has happened to the people who assaulted me. The campus police did nothing. The Dean of Students was there and did nothing. There will be no repercussions unless I have something to do with it. I will be pursuing legal action. These people need to face repercussions. And I was barricaded because after my speech, an ambush of people entered into the classroom, turned off the lights, they attacked me. I got escorted out of the room and immediately pushed into that room that we saw on the video, and I was trapped in there for 3 hours.
So since this event happened, keep in mind what you saw, all that happened, all that's very real. The police, the state attorney's office, the university, not only have they not charged or prosecuted or followed through with any criminal charges, but the day after this assault and kidnapping happened to Riley, the dean of the university actually issued an apology to the trans students and told them how proud and how brave she was of them. Further, she blocked Riley Gaines from accessing the university's Twitter account and the dean's Twitter account. Guys, I don't know where we're at, where we think that biological men can literally, with their advantage as far as height, lung span, wingspan, muscle, that they have the advantage in these arenas, and yet they want to compete against women, especially when these individuals suffer from a diagnosis of autogynephilia and are getting erotic gynephilia, and are getting off on dressing like a woman while they're in locker rooms and showers naked with other women. This is concerning. This is concerning on so many levels. And I know there are folks like Megan Rapinoe and Susan Bird that are advocating for trans women to have more access to female sports. But I just want to point out one thing. Neither of these two female athletes have children. None of them. So they have no idea what it would be like to watch your daughter compete and train and work her entire life to get on a podium and to have to forfeit her trophy or medal to a man. That's offensive. It's offensive. It's deplorable. I stand with Riley Gaines. Furthermore, unfortunately for Riley, since she went to a California university, state of California is represented by the most dingbat representative ever, Katie Porter, who is completely an embarrassment, and I can say that as a Democratic American woman, completely an embarrassment. Watch her here with Bill Maher and Pierce Morgan and see her ridiculousness. She doesn't even know what she's talking about. Take a look.
nobody, including Riley Gaines, who I disagree with strongly, should feel
What do you
physically...
disagree with, out of interest?
I think that it should be up to sporting bodies to make the decisions about who and how should compete.
What has she said that's actually wrong?
I think that what she has done is try to turn this... We talked about people, using things to kind of get likes and get clicks.
That's not what she's doing.
It's not?
I've got no truck for Riley Gaines personally, but all I've seen her do is stand up for women's rights to fairness and equality.
Well,
she actually competed against Lia Thomas, and it was obviously unfair. Lia Thomas won one of the races in the NCAA championships by 50 seconds against a bunch of biological females who simply couldn't keep up. That cannot be right. It cannot be fair.
That is something that I think our sporting bodies should be dealing with. And by the way, Riley is speaking up for herself, and that is her prerogative, and I respect her free speech.
I think she's speaking up for pretty much every female athlete in the world.
I mean, wasn't that the point of Title IX? Title IX in the early 70s was something that was it was a major event in feminism, that we finally have this law that says at colleges, right, and I think high schools too, but definitely colleges, women's sports have to be given equal to men's sports, so that women aren't and this led to the WNBA and lots of other stuff. This seems to be the opposite of that. It seems to be so many instances, I think, where wokeness is the opposite of what I grew up as liberalism. Liberalism was, let's give the women an equal shot. This is let's put a male in the swimming pool with the women.
So in a nutshell, folks like Megan Rapinoe, Susan Bird, and yes, Representative Katie Porter, you can take a seat. Because women like me and folks all over the United States of America that have children, and specifically female children, we will fight you tooth and nail. We will fight you tooth and nail on this, because you will not erase women. You will not erase and replace women with men, with biological men, and that is what they are. And Buck Angel, who is a trans man, and I quote, stated, and I quote, "When I had my transition, my sex did not change. My body did. Period." End quote. So it doesn't matter how long they grow their hair out, or how long they take their estrogen, or whatever the case might be. You do not get to replace women. You do not get to erase women. And I don't care who they are. This is ridiculous. It's getting out of hand. And women, it is time that we stand up. I want you all to scream from your own platforms, from any platform you might have, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever your platform, scream. If you're not comfortable screaming and shouting on your own, get on mine, use mine, I don't care. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing these men thinking they can beat down women and replace us. That was the whole premise of Title IX. It's not right. It's not right. It's not fair. And frankly, it makes look like the United States of America and makes us look like a laughingstock. So take a seat. Folks that think that you can erase and replace women, take a freaking seat. We are not going to conform to the mentally ill minority. It's not going to happen.